The headline right now, of course, Bernie Sanders wins the vote in the New Hampshire Democratic presidential primary. He's got the popular vote. He wins the popular vote.
So when you hear all these pundits and experts, cable TV talkers talked about the race, tell them it ain't over, man. We're just getting started.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. So last night we had the New Hampshire primary, and right away I can tell you it's pretty much a success compared to Iowa, although that really isn't saying much, but overall pretty predictable results, although there are some developments for the primaries going forward that we're going to talk about a little later. Now before we talk about the Democrats, let's first see how Trump did. And no surprise, he won the primary, although with a higher percentage of voters for his re-election compared to other presidents like Obama, Reagan, and Bush. I think right now momentum for his campaign is strong. I really don't think there are any problems for the GOP right now, and overall is pretty united, which is good for him. So moving on, let's go over the results for the Democrats, because this is where it's going to get interesting. Now, first off, Bernie Sanders had the highest percentage of votes at 26%, winning 9 delegates, and this really is not a surprise. Bernie won New Hampshire last election season, and he was already polling ahead in the state prior to the election, although it's good for him because now he can increase the momentum for his campaign going into other primaries like Nevada and South Carolina. Now, Buttigieg followed up behind Bernie with 24% of the vote, along with 9 delegates, and given his performance in Iowa and now New Hampshire, I definitely think he's got a strong campaign, yet it's going to be interesting to find out how he performs in Nevada and South Carolina, because for example, Nevada has not had a pullout since January, so can he keep the momentum in his campaign? I don't know, we're just going to have to wait and see, but I do think there is a strong chance that he will. Now, the big surprise of the night, in my opinion, is got to be Amy Klobuchar, who cracked into third place with 20% of the vote and 6 delegates. And I was pretty surprised at this because I didn't really think she had any momentum, and I thought voters would swing to Biden as the moderate candidate, although Klobuchar did have a good debate in New Hampshire, and I do think she is better than Biden because I don't get the vibe of like just a really old person who really at this point is just in the race to be in it. That's Biden's thing, and Klobuchar definitely has much more energy, which is good for her. So with that being said, it's not really a surprise that moderate Democrats have now migrated to her side because she's just a much better candidate than Biden at this point. And speaking of Biden, he didn't even crack the 10% threshold. He got no delegates, and he came in 5th place behind Warren. It's pretty embarrassing, and he is definitely the biggest loser of the night. Now, I'm pretty sure he wasn't in the state for the primary because he knew it was going to be a bad night. I'm pretty sure he spent it in South Carolina campaigning, but is it that going to pay off? I doubt it. I really don't think his campaign is going very far, and I think it's on its last legs. He couldn't win Iowa, he couldn't get any delegates in New Hampshire, and the problem is just there's no energy from him, no one is excited for him, and he's only coasting in the polls now through name recognition, so I will be shocked if he has any chance of the nomination, unless of course the DNC rigs it again, but that is besides the point. Now moving on to Warren, she finished in 4th, and again I don't think she's got any real chance either at this point. Klobuchar is much more charismatic than Warren, so that counts for the women vote, and she's definitely outflanked by her left for Bernie. So at this point, everything she has going for her is just outmatched by another candidate. She did only slightly better than Biden at 9%, but she also did not receive any delegates. So I also don't think Warren is going very far either. She's just not very likable, and she just comes off as not genuine, so I don't think it's going very far. Now, the rest of the candidates did no better than expected, so right now I think it's going to be between Bernie, Buttigieg, and a moderate, and I guess now that moderate is going to be Klobuchar, maybe Biden scrapes by a little later, possibly on Super Tuesday, and we're also going to have to see how Bloomberg fits into all of this when he finally starts entering the primaries, so at this point, it's really all up in the air still. Now, besides that, Andrew Yang decided to drop out of the race for the presidency, and I thought this was kind of sad because I actually liked Andrew Yang. I thought he was pretty much the most genuine and authentic person on the stage and in the entire race overall, and it sucks that he didn't perform better, although I do think it's part due to the lack of airtime in the debates and the fact that the MSM is just not in favor of him because there are incidents of CNN excluding him from their coverage, so that's possibly a reason. Now, overall, I'd say he ran a pretty successful campaign just through the fact that he was literally a nobody, and he built up a tremendous social media presence, and he brought up issues nobody was talking about, like automation. In addition to that, UBI is a really interesting policy, so it was cool to talk about how that may or may not work. So yeah, it does suck that Andrew Yang dropped out, but it is, possible that he will return in the near future. So nowhere near as much sadness was poured out, though, for Colorado Senator Michael Bennet, who also dropped out. Not much to say about that because he was just pretty irrelevant. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Now that's pretty much all the news for New Hampshire, and at this point I don't know who's going to win the nomination because although Bernie is the front runner, the combined moderate vote was around 50% if we look at Biden, Klobuchar, and Buttigieg, and the only problem there is that the splitting of the moderate vote, which could be a problem and allow Bernie to come out on top. I don't think Warren is going anywhere, and maybe it'll be Bernie versus moderate, but at this point no one really knows. And we also have to worry about Bloomberg's campaign on Super Tuesday, which if it's actually going to be effective, that's going to make things very hectic for the Democrats. So at this point, like I keep saying, it's still up in the air and is really up for anybody. Now that's going to bring this video to the end. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like and let me know down below what you guys think of the results and who you think is going to win the nomination. It'll be interesting to see, and maybe someone is going to get the prediction right. But with that being said, guys, take care, and I'll see you all later.